Hello and welcome to this episode of Cassiotti News. I am your host, Nick Cassiotti, and this is your only platform to break up with the traditional media and get four political parties and their opinions. If you haven't seen our first topic today, it is linked above. Topic number 2, Democrats have flipped seats in the U.S. Senate race in Georgia. Rez, this shifts the balance of power in Washington, D.C. What does this mean for cabinet position appointments and U.S. legislation coming out of D.C. there, Rez?
Yeah, so look, what we witnessed in Georgia this past Tuesday was a repudiation of Trumpism and Republican leadership. Voters in the general and the special election in Georgia remembered the fact that President Trump called neo-Nazis very fine people, African countries shithole countries, and last summer ordered the assault of innocent protesters by the military police for a photo op. Regarding COVID, which was a top issue to Georgia voters, according to exit polls, the Republican mismanagement of the COVID crisis has led to almost 400,000 deaths. When the crisis first started, Trump said the virus would just disappear. Then over last summer suggested that you could kill the virus if you drink bleach. Voters in Georgia remembered that Mitch McConnell blocked the stimulus checks in order to fight for liability protections for large corporations. These things matter to Georgia voters. And after Trump lost the election in historic fashion, him and other Republicans attempted to assault and undermine our democracy. Voters remembered the fact that Georgia voters remembered the fact that Trump called the Secretary of State of Georgia and tried to bully him into finding more votes in order to overturn the results of the election. So for Georgia voters, when the choice was between undermining our democracy or national progress, voters chose progress. Democratic candidates in Georgia, John Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock, offered the voters progress. What this means is that we're finally going to be able to get $2,000 checks. These are survival checks that the American people desperately need. What this means is that Republicans can play politics and hamstring the upcoming Biden administration. Biden will be able to get the appointments that he needs in order to move this country forward and in order to govern. This is a good day for America. Georgia saved our democracy, and better days are ahead of us.
Kyle, to those points that Rez is bringing up, we're looking at a massive state change its affiliation from mostly Republican now to being, to his point, disgusted in what we saw the last administration. Based upon this two-party system that we have, does this prove that we can flip states to other parties?
Well, obviously you can flip states to other parties. It's happening. But I think we have, for the flipping of Georgia, I think we have Trump to blame because I think he stepped up and said he wanted to pass the $2,000 checks instead of the $600 checks, and the Republicans stopped it. The last few conservative Republicans stopped it, and they're like, yeah, you know what, we'll flip and we'll take the 2,000, or we'll take 2,000 Trebek. I don't see a big difference between the Republicans going full board government and the Democrats going full board government. If you look at government spending over time, both the parties have no problem with spending money, increasing social programs, government programs. I don't see Republicans as being something different as far as government spending or big government. The squabbling I hear between Republicans and Democrats are red herring as far as this, what minor issues remain difference between the two parties.
Well, Austin, I mean, the Democrats are notorious for absorbing a lot of the Green Party's ideas. They are. I mean, that's something that they've notoriously done in the past, and they label them their own going forward. What does this mean? What does Georgia flipping in the Senate mean for legislation coming out of D.C.?
It means nothing. The Democrats now control soon to control the White House, the Senate, the House of Representatives, and they're not going to do anything about it. We will not have a Green New Deal. Many Democrats are opposed to a Green New Deal. The Democrats, unfortunately, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a recent victim of this. She absorbed the Green Party's Green New Deal after Green Party governor candidate Howie Hawkins in 2014 got 5% of the vote in New York, she absorbed his Green New Deal plan, watered it down to where it's a bourgeoisie liberal concept now. The original Green New Deal calls for an end to nuclear power. The original Green New Deal calls for a 75% cut to the military budget. And it calls for workers' control of the means of production. It does not put money into Tesla. It does not green the bomb, as Elizabeth Warren attempted to pitifully resurrect in her failed presidential bid. The Green New Deal really is a message that we need to get across that the Democrats are failing. The feminist movement, sadly adopted by the Democrats, has gone to heck and back. And we see oftentimes that these Democrats are very progressive in their campaign, but their governing is not as progressive. Tweets are one thing, cool, great, but you're a sitting member of government. Write the damn bill,
Sure.
because we're tired.
Yeah. So, Rez, if I had a Republican on here, and just to get more meat and potatoes out of you, they'd be upset. They'd say, well, Trump had 74 million voters vote for him in this last election. A lot of these voters are opposed to the quote unquote socialist views that are going to be jammed down their throats, right? So, we talked about it before. Things move slowly in Washington, D.C. Is there going to be a massive change towards socialism in this country because of one state going blue?
No. Look, the basic definition of socialism is the elimination of private enterprise. The Democratic Party is not going to eliminate private enterprise. There is not a single member within the Democratic Party that are socialists. AOC, Bernie Sanders, they do not support the elimination of private enterprise. You are going to see progress going forward, such as the more stimulus checks, the survival checks. You're going to see unemployment benefits be extended. You're going to see corruption being reined in. But again, these are liberal agendas. These are progressive agendas. These are not socialist agendas. So no, there's not going to be a single socialist policy that will be passed through the Biden administration.
So if the House, the Senate, and the White House are all blue, what does that? I mean, that's big. That's federal government. That's a lot right there. What does that mean, Rez, for the average person, you and me?
I think we are going to see more benefits come in, economic, direly needed benefits coming from the federal government. I think just within this coming year, you're going to see vaccine distribution be done the right way. You're going to see stimulus benefits come in. You're going to see more funding for state and local governments. People will be able to apply for PPP loans. And this is actually are going to go to small businesses rather than large corporations like the LA Lakers. And that's just within this coming year. The biggest thing is that this Biden administration is going to be able to undo and roll back anti-climate policies passed by the Trump administration. We finally have an administration that believes in science, that believes in the threat that is posed by climate change. That is a very big deal for people like us and the millennial generation going forward.
So Austin, I mean, he brings up a couple of really good points there that would pander to green voters, right? Is that a positive sign that they're going to roll back some of the opportunities that Trump put into play for fossil fuels, right? So they had an opportunity over the past 4 years to expand their businesses, and that did provide a lot of jobs. There is data to show that jobs were created in that form, right? Especially in Ohio, where fracking does provide a livelihood for some people out there. Is this a positive sign that government is blue now?
The Greens see right through the lies of Joe Biden. Joe Biden has actively opposed a Green New Deal. Joe Biden has said that he does not support a 100% green renewable transition to our economy. Joe Biden has been in government for 50 years. Joe Biden is the problem. Joe Biden is not the solution. We've seen through Joe Biden's racist policies of stop and frisk and that type of stuff, where he doesn't really seem to care. Only when he's running for big national government positions will he seem to magically care about the women's movement, or he'll magically care about LGBT liberation. When he, in 2008, agreed with Sarah Palin that same-sex marriage should not be legal in the United States. So we are not excited about a Joe Biden administration. It just shows that we have a different way of going about organizing. Because no matter if Joe Biden's president or not, there's still going to be Agent Orange leaking from the Vietnam War, buried in Korea. We're still going to have American-led genocide in African nations. We're still going to have U.S. troops occupying the Ryukyu people in Okinawa, Japan. So it's not over. We still have these problems, and just the blindfold is going to change from red to blue.
Kyle, I'm going to give you the last word on this. We only have a minute and a half left. That being said, this does now pave the way for Joe Biden to have cabinet positions appointed per what he's looking to accomplish. What is a libertarian going to get out of a Joe Biden and a Democrat House and a Democrat Senate?
A libertarian isn't going to get anything. We're going to get a lot of pain out of that scenario. This is. It's not great. It would have been better if we did have a Republican, Senate or somebody to rein back the spending from the Democrats. And actually, when the Democrats do own the presidency, the Republicans actually act more fiscally conservative and responsible. So that's unfortunate. But look, I don't think it's going to be all that different from the Trump administration. The Trump administration has been, if you look at what happened under Trump, big spending, bad regulations. It's not going to be that different from that. It's going to be more of the same, and I think things will get progressively worse as we move along.
20 seconds, Rez. We'll close it out with you.
I'm excited for the Biden administration. I think just in this year, the fact that we're going to be able to help the average American with more survival checks is already more progress than the last 4 years under the Trump administration.
We appreciate you as our guests coming. We appreciate you as our viewers. If you like this format and you like seeing more than just the right or left, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Share us on social media. This is the future where we get more voices and an intellectual conversation, not people talking over each other. So we thank you for joining us. Hit that subscribe button, share us, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.